It is the Fulhamish quick take after Fulham's 1-1 draw against Arsenal at Craven Cottage. A point that feels like a win after we thought we'd lost it in the final minute of the match. I'm here at Craft Beer Co with Drew. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm okay. How are you? Been a little while since you've done the quick take.
Yeah, been a little while. I'm exhausted, not least because that game had everything, but I was explaining everything to my 5-year-old. So I feel like I've not stopped talking for the last 2 hours.
What was Kaz's analysis of the match?
Football's really boring and I want to go home. Which, I think he's wrong. I think we can all agree with that, but he'll get there. It'll take a few years, I'm sure.
Fulham 1, Arsenal 1. The kid doesn't know he's born. We're here at Craft Beer Co, the perfect place for a pre or post-match tipple. So if you're coming to either maybe the Southampton game or the Bournemouth game over Christmas, maybe you're doing a trip over to England, there is no finer place to come than Craft Beer Co because they have the most wonderful range of beers, of ciders, of vodka sodas, Drew.
Too many vodkas to choose from. This is fantastic. I recommend.
Yeah, check out Craft Beer Co the next time that you come to a game here at Craven Cottage. You could maybe come here for the Boxing Day game against Chelsea. It's a bit of a walk, but it's possible. The tube's not far.
Stay in the home ends, yeah.
Yeah. Right, Drew, a really positive point for Fulham, particularly as we thought we'd lost it at the very end. I think there can be no denial that Arsenal had a bit more of the ball today. Fulham felt like they held on a little bit at times, but once again, we have proved that this Fulham team can take on anyone. This was an informed flying Arsenal. We should be very proud of getting a point.
Yeah, it still feels a bit sort of strange, isn't it? But we need to start accepting that we're a different beast. I thought the first half performance was fantastic. We were, Arsenal had a lot of the ball, as you said, but we were composed, we were calm. Diop has been it's just immense. It's so strange. And when I'm explaining, as I was saying, every move of the game, I kept coming back to Diop because he kept doing things. And I was like, oh, he's having a really good game again. So I thought that was great. I didn't think we could have kept that up in the second half. Obviously, then Arsenal get the goal shortly after second half. It restarted. It was ever thus. But as you said, we managed to hold on, and it's a completely different feeling to what it has been even under Marco Silva in recent years. Like, we've always been good under him, but we're stepping it up.
Yeah, we really are. And one chance, one goal in the first half. Felt like Arsenal really were camped in the Fulham half. It all felt quite simple, didn't it? Just one ball behind the defence from Kenny Tete, and Raul Jimenez just drilled it low. I think it is a good pass from Kenny, but Raul has an awful lot to do there. That is, we don't always see it, and we've been complaining in recent weeks about how we need a striker. If Raul could do that a little bit more, then there would be no debate about needing a new striker, because that was magnificent.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a hard finish, wasn't it? And I keep saying it, but he's looking increasingly good value for the 5 million. Like, we know that we're not blessed with the embarrassment of riches up front in the number 9, but like for the money he cost and the return we're getting, I don't think we can ask for much more. It's certainly his season in the first sort of 15 games, as it was the end of the season for Muniz. So maybe they're just going to sort of trade places like that until we figure out what to do. We caught lightning in a bottle with Mitrovic. I don't know whether we'll be able to do it again. So being shrewd and clever like this seems to be paying off to a degree, especially when we can get goals from elsewhere as well. But great finish from Jimenez, and it's been a good season for him.
Yeah, and defensively, especially in that first half, really good. As you say, I think Diop was probably my man of the match, but certainly was my man of the first half. Just so many last-ditch headers. He really, I thought, was the standout defender. They were all good today. Tete, Bassi, Robinson. But for me, yeah, Diop's, Anderson may be working his way back to fitness, but I don't know if he naturally gets his place back.
Yeah, well, we know how Marco sits on that, and I think it'd be hard pushed to remove Diop. But then we said that at the start of the season. Remember when he started the season, and he started really well, and Anderson came in and swooped in and took it. But again, we talk about a good season for Jimenez. When Diop has played all this season, he's been good, and I haven't been able to fault him. It's going to be a real test of his mettle next game when I hear that Bassi's suspended.
Yeah, he is.
That will be interesting. That will be a real test of his mettle. But as another good performance from him today, especially first half. I saw a little mistake in the second where he sort of tried to clear the ball and it went straight to Arsenal. But I think at that point we were all sort of backs to the wall and it was all getting a bit frenetic. But other than that, again, probably man of the match, as you said.
I feel like week after week, Fulham just can't seem to keep the ball out of the net after half time. eventually it was an Arsenal corner. It felt like in the first half we dealt with the corner threat well. In the second, we were at 6s and 7s. We conceded 1. We possibly should have conceded 3. The Thomas Partey free header was borderline criminal from Fulham. What I can't understand is it doesn't look particularly complicated what Arsenal are doing. Why is the rest of the Premier League not copying them? Because it is just extraordinarily effective, and it's like when you give a free kick away and James Ward-Prowse is on the pitch. I've never known it where you give away a corner and you just go like, oh God. Like it absolutely terrorised us today, and I was a bit disappointed that despite knowing the threat, despite knowing Arsenal were great from set pieces, we just couldn't seem to contain it.
Yeah, it was corner after corner after corner, which makes us holding out in that first half quite, commendable. But yeah, I mean, it just kept coming and coming and coming. And it's like you say, like, why can't people figure it out? But then, we find it so hard to get back into the groove after the break, and it all the time. If it's not the first 10 minutes, it's certainly the first 15. And so yeah, it wasn't too much of a surprise, but it was a bit like the Alamo, wasn't it? And to get just one, I think, was probably par for the course.
Is it me being a biased home fan that I was particularly frustrated with the referee today? Obviously, it was Chris Kavanagh. We have history of Chris Kavanagh because he is the referee from that famous Man United game who sent off Mitrovic. Mitrovic then shoved. Deserves a bloody good shove, in my opinion. Yeah. He deserved a shove today from anyone that could have got near him. Yeah. Just felt like really pernickety refereeing. There was a moment in the second half where I'm not sure which Arsenal defender, I think it was Kivior, genuinely was doing a chokehold on Raul Jimenez, didn't give anything, but yet felt like just the softest touch on the Arsenal players, and it was given. I know that like every football fan has their feeling. I try not to fall down this rabbit hole, but I was particularly frustrated by it today. Maybe it's just I knew who the referee was.
I think, yeah, it's the narrative, isn't it? Hashtag narrative. I mean, I thought throughout the first half, I was like, towards sort of first half of the first half, I was thinking, is it because we really dislike him that we're just sort of shouting at every decision? And then it got towards the end of the game, I was like, oh no, actually he doesn't know how to control a game. He strikes me as a referee who just likes to see how long he can be on camera during match of the day, so he'll just keep being contrarian on the decisions so he can see himself, walking up to the players and brandishing his cards or not, as the case may be. I think it was his first game since the United game, and I'll be happy if it was another lengthy gap like that, to be fair.
Yeah, it was particularly grating in the Hammersmith end. This episode of Fulhamish is brought to you by NordVPN. NordVPN is a way of watching sporting matches from all around the world just by changing the location on your tablet, your laptop, or your phone. For instance, you can use NordVPN to watch football matches for a fraction of the cost, including those 3 p.m. fixtures that aren't available here in the UK. Plus, you can use NordVPN on up to 10 devices. So, for instance, if my dad goes on holiday to Spain, he can log in using my account, and then he can watch Match of the Day to catch up on those Fulham highlights. Only when Fulham win, of course. Right now, you can get a great deal by signing up for NordVPN at nordvpn.com/Fulhamish. Not only will you get a great rate, but you'll get 4 months extra as well. Plus, it's completely risk-free thanks to NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. So to get that great rate plus 4 extra months, go to nordvpn.com/Fulhamish. That's nordvpn.com/Fulhamish. And it was also particularly grating when we thought we'd conceded a late winner to Arsenal. Saka at the back post. It wasn't great defending from Fulham, but when you get an offside decision like that go your way late on, as I say, it's only a point, but it almost feels like 3 because we got away with one.
Oh, I celebrate with Casper like it was a win because I was throwing him around. Like the first goal, when you look at it, when in the ground, it was quite hard. It looked sort of borderline to me. The second time, I just didn't see what was going on, so I just assumed it was a goal, and I thought, we know it's Fulham. The last 5 minutes, we're always going to concede, so I kind of just was resigned to it. But I love a bit of VAR because I feel like we come off it smelling the roses more often than not. So I don't know, I just feel like it's a bit of a saviour. But that one was particularly sweet because I had my fingers crossed. I'd do it at the end of the game, and he's trying to uncross my fingers. No, leave it. And that is why I keep the fingers crossed, because things like that happen. So thank you.
Important life lessons to a 5-year-old.
I know, superstitions. Well, if he's going to go and do this, he has to learn. Proper lucky shirts and all of that.
I think if he's going to do this, he has to maybe get past the opinion that football's boring as well. I feel like maybe we've got to go past that hurdle as well before he's Fulham home and away. He'll get there.
Yeah, he didn't live under Paul Bracewell's season 25 years ago, so he can count himself lucky.
5 points in a week. When you think of who those fixtures were, Spurs away, Brighton at home, and then Arsenal at home today. My God, we'd have bitten your hands off for that a week ago. That is a really great return. To be unbeaten from 3, and Spurs right now playing Chelsea 2-0 up last time I checked as well. So that is 3 really commendable results, and none of them a fluke.
No, absolutely. And I was talking to Dan in the pub just before, and I think if you look across the season, we're already up. If you say, the games that we expected to get points from or not, we're already way up. And so you can look at those games against Wolves where the performance was way below what we expect. And you can kind of discount it because on the whole, it's a net positive, as the Arsenal fans like to say. Like, this season is so far a huge net positive, and you've got Liverpool next week, and we're missing one of our key cogs in Bassey, but I'm not afraid of it now, not at all.
I just feel like we're going to always bloody a nose when we go into a match. I don't know if we're going to win. I feel like something stupid's always going to happen, but I'm like going into Liverpool next week and I just feel like something's going to happen. We're going to cause them a problem. We're going to create chances and go there and give a game of it. Salah might score a hat-trick. That kind of thing can happen. But I just have this weird feeling about Fulham. And then, it's the games on the horizon like Southampton that I go gulp.
Yeah, that could be the one that ruins the Christmas, couldn't it? Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Like, one thing you'll never get from us at the moment, or rarely, seldom, we do get it, is a terrible performance. But not many at all. I'm just going into every game expecting something to go our way and maybe something not to. But yeah, it's been great so far, and because the league is so congested at the moment, like if you can pull a run together, you can really sort of change the game a bit. But equally, if you have a couple of results not go your way, you can find yourself back in the doldrums. Not quite the relegation, but 13th, 14th. So it's an interesting season. I think there's chances for greatness, and I think they've got that sniff of it already, and they know it.
Yeah, it's like we're in that lovely mini league of Brighton and Bournemouth and Forest. Just all of these teams can beat nearly all the teams above us, and it's a magical season for that. I think we're in for what feels to me like an all-time classic, and how wonderful that Fulham are in that conversation, not just at the bottom watching, wishing, praying that we were in that club. We're in that club, and we're taking it to every team, and I think today is just yet another example of that. Well, look, Drew, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Let us know what you thought of the game. Drop a comment down below, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. It really appreciates it. And the podcast will have more analysis in the week. Drew, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And you whites.